Okay, so somebody earlier today asked me how many ships I had seen, and the answer is a lot. It's really the only answer I can give because I actually tried to write down how many I've seen, different types, and I don't know. I don't actually remember them all. Um, there are many species here. There are many beings here. There are starports, or that's the word I use, on the moon and in different places where they can, it's like a basically an airport, a galactic airport of sorts, because you're not really allowed to land or come down without permission from different ETs, and I don't want to say they're in control, but protective of the Earth and how things are handled down here. So most of them don't come down without permission. Actually, some of you have even had spirit art readings where they've said, like, we're waiting for the Galactic Council or for our leaders or whoever to tell us we're allowed to come down. But between the starport and what I've seen astrally, what I've seen physically, that sort of thing, I have seen discs, hexagons. When I was a kid, a buddy and I saw, it was either a hexagon or an octagon. I can't remember exactly the amount of sides, but we saw it over the farm fields with lights on it, and there 1 minute, zoom, stop, and zoom and disappear. So not something human. I have seen tubes. I woke up one night and there was a being in my room, and he had flown a tube that was like 7 foot tall and maybe 2 feet around, maybe a little bit bigger, into my room and phased through the wall, and it was sitting there in the corner of my room, and he was walking around looking at stuff. I have seen human technology, which surprisingly almost always looks like a plane or something from like Star Wars, if you're familiar with like A-wings and that sort of thing. They're very similar, with a vehicle with a cockpit type thing on it. I've seen, what else did I put down? Triangles, black triangles, I have been told, that are from our people, and the Zetas have specifically been very clear that when I'm sitting at the starport, they're like, that one's yours. Why can't what did he say? Why can't your people think of in any way other than squares and triangles? And talking about how pretty their ships are, which their ships are just plain discs, but how all we think of are in squares and triangles. And if you look at our architecture, our houses, our planes, everything is all squares and triangles. I've seen huge, enormous ships that have the ability to house towns and cities on them with giant, the best way to call it is like a rudder or a fin on the bottom to stabilize it in an atmosphere. There's just all kinds of technology out there. All kinds of technology you can't even imagine unless you go straight to the science fiction books. And even some of the science fiction books, like, I've seen things, or mega structures that blow my mind. It's like, how does this even work? How does this even happen? And it's not something I'm meant to understand. I'm just meant to experience it and tell people about it, and that's it. And once my experience is over, I move on. Basically, I'm here to tell people that all of this stuff is real. The stuff you're seeing online, some of it, granted, I do believe some of it is photoshopped, but most of it is legitimate sightings, ships flying around the moon, in the air, orbs. Sometimes orbs are actually ships, not just spiritual energy. Clouds. I've had some people send me pictures of clouds where there's a single cloud that literally looks like a ship sitting there in the sky, and there's no other clouds around. That's a perfect sign. Like, if there's a cloud that looks like a big disc, but there's nothing else around, it's usually cloaked. But there's all kinds of technology, all kinds of ships, and the best way to think about it is there are numerous species. As I'm drawing those I've never even knew existed. I drew an aquatic being who can literally walk on the bottom of the ocean. I drew them yesterday, I think. There are technologies that each one of those beings has. Some of them are very spiritual and more natural, but they use technologies of other civilizations too, especially discs. I think the discs from Zetas and other civilizations, like I know the one Zeta I work with, he's actually a couple of them. They ferry different beings around the earth who don't have technology, but they have friendships. So some of the technology you actually see is specific to one race, but it's being shared. But it's like thinking if every city in the world evolved on its own and developed its own technology, we'd all have different stuff, and there'd be no way to really explain the numerous amount of different types of technology in that case if we all evolved separately and came together one day and went, oh hey, what do you have? We all have different stuff. So, but there are a lot of ships out there, and just keep your eyes on the skies, because there's going to be more. And from what I've noticed on Instagram and other places, it's people are posting more frequently about sightings and that sort of thing. And mine aren't algorithm based because I try not to like them for the sake of keeping my feed clear for other things. But they're here, they're more, and I've been told many more are coming, because the time is coming soon that they'll be able to come down. And when I say soon, that's soon in ET terms. And anybody who's worked with spirit guides or energies or beings who perceive reality in a non-linear time way knows that soon could mean 10-20 years. It doesn't necessarily mean 6 months. It could mean 6 months. It could mean 20 years. They don't really give a timeline. So soon is when they're coming, and they're going to ramp up activity to help people understand that they are here. So lots of ships out there. Just keep watching the sky.